greatest minds this world has ever seen, and they encourage and uplift me for 20-something years. Nah, man, I came out and felt like the world is behind me. Where most people come out, and I'm gonna say this, they come out humble to a fault. Yeah, you gotta be humble, but they come out so humble trying to ask, man, will somebody help me? Somebody give me a job? Somebody
They have to do.
but this is what they think. I came out with this. I can add value to what you're doing. You need me on your team. This is why. Just the difference of the mentality of somebody coming and asking for help, coming out of prison, and me telling you I can help you, and showing you how I can help you, is the difference between success and failure.
Right, that's the difference between a leader and a follower. See, I told you I'm smart. This is show over with you.
You get it from us.
I'm so smart as unbelievable. What else you want me to tell you? It just goes on and on. But pretty soon you're going to be writing another book.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something that a lot of people don't know. I've written 4 books and I've only put out 1.
Oh, wait, what happened to the other ones? You didn't want to?
I'm waiting till this book has run its course.
Oh, okay.
Once I've written, and I don't mind telling the world books, I wrote a book. It's one of the coldest novels there. People in LA trying to make it a movie right now. But then they said that it won't fit. They're talking about a series, but it's called From Sandpaper to Silk. And it's
I like that name.
Man, it's serious. It takes you from when I was studying to be a minister at 4 years old, and it gets into the mindset of this young kid, man, who went from being cracked on for having a big head, being dark, having speech impediment. I was doing all that as a child. I was criticized, ridiculed, dogged a lot, and I lost myself in Machiavelli, Friedrich Nietzsche, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle. Like, I was a student, Khalil Gibran. I was a student of the deeper studies of life. Even when I was a teenager. So when I turned to the streets, I had such a philosophical advantage over guys that was just out there selling drugs. That, you know what I mean? Like, strategy was not something I thought about. It was me. Like, a leader thinks about what is hard while it's still easy. He understands how to see the war coming and dissolve it so war doesn't even have to take place.
But that's because you had, I guess what you could call astrophysical powers. All right?
Teach.
Yeah,
Teach.
I know.
Nah, you're really getting smart.
I know, but that's what you had. That's what you have now.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you have. So, and you also have the ability to, what do they call this silent, am I saying this right? Would somebody please help me out here in this audience? I'm not that, I'm not 100%. What's the name of it when you get up and silent
Then I went on the other page and the teacher molested a child.
Yeah.
Then I went on another page and I'm just saying, wow. And once again, y'all think I'm in a hurry to get out to that?
Right, yeah.
That's why, you know, it's like my perspective is different. To me, and y'all don't all shoot me at the same time, freedom as the world sees it is overrated. There's more people locked up and incarcerated out here in society than there is behind the wall.
Yeah, they got a lot of chains holding them down.
I tell people this all the time. You have a higher self and a lower self. Whichever one you feed gets stronger. So when I was in the world before I came, I was feeding my lower self. Millions of dollars, cars, Benzes, take care of people. So my lower self was at the seat of power. Mm-hmm. I still could hear my spiritual self. Mm-hmm. But my lower self was at the seat of power. When I got locked up, it's an excellent question. When I got locked up, how old was I? 22. When I got locked up, I was sitting in the county jail and I had to make a decision. Mm-hmm. And that's when my spirit went back to the seat of power. I said to myself, am I going to tell on everybody and put everybody in prison mm-hmm. to go home, or am I willing to die for my name? Am I really willing to die for my legacy?
Mm-hmm. So we know what the choice was.
Absolutely, I was willing to die. It really, I didn't really even ask myself that question, because the minute I said it, I knew what it was. Okay, I am willing to die here in prison. So that's what I told myself. When I accepted dying in prison, mm-hmm. that's when the spirit took over. Mm-hmm. Because I could see a lot of people don't realize what's difficult for them. It's hard for them to walk away from carnal man. Who gonna have sex with the girl you with? Who gonna drive your car? Who gonna spend your money? You're trying to get back out there to an illusion. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Or you're gonna lock into the spiritual self. And I immediately locked into the spiritual self, thanks to my mom and God, how I was reared, my spiritual self. That transition, I had to be willing to turn my back on everything. And to answer your question, coming out of prison, oh man, with all praise due to the Creator, I felt like a juggernaut, an unstoppable force when I came out of prison. You want to know why? Because you think you're good at doing hair, or you think you're good as a mechanic, but when they put you around thousands of mechanics, and you're one of the best mechanics, and you acknowledge that to other men that you respect, right, then you truly know that you got a gift. When I went to federal prison and I met great men, Brother Barry, Guy Fisher that saved the Apollo Theater, Tino Fiumara from the Genovese family, so many different powerful men that you read about in books. To be around these men, and all these men, city to city, say, hey man, that dude Silk is a beast. Mm-hmm. Man, that kid is sharp. It's an empowering thing. It's like your father's patting you on the back, saying you can do it, you can do it. So I had 24 years of being acknowledged from some of the greatest men out of Chicago, greatest men out of LA, greatest men out of Canada, out of Mexico, saying, man, Charles Dunne got something different with him, man. He's a different dude. So when I came home, do you think it's something this world can tell me? When I was around some of the greatest minds this world has ever seen, and they encouraged and uplift me for 20-some years? No, man, I came out and felt like the world is behind me. Where most people come out, and I'm gonna say this, they come out humble to a fault. Yeah, you gotta be humble, but they come out so humble trying to ask for, man, will somebody help me? Somebody give me a job?
That's what they have to do.
But this is what they think.
That's what they think.
I came out with this. I can add value to what you're doing. You need me on your team. This is why. Just the difference of the mentality of somebody coming and asking for help, coming out of prison, and me telling you I can help you, and showing you how I can help you, is the difference between success and failure.
Right, that's the difference between a leader and a follower. See, I told you I'm smart. this is show over with, you know. I'm so smart, it's unbelievable. What else you want me to tell you? It just goes on and on. But pretty soon you're going to be writing another book.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something that a lot of people don't know. I've written 4 books and I've only put out 1.
Oh, well, what happened to the other ones? You didn't want to?
I'm waiting till this book has run its course.
Oh, okay.
Once I've written, and I don't mind telling the world the books. I wrote a book. It's one of the coldest novels that people in LA trying to make it a movie right now.
Wow.
But then they said that it won't fit. They talking about a series, but it's called From Sandpaper to Silk. And
I like that name.
Man, it's serious. It takes you from when I was studying to be a minister at 4 years old, and it gets into the mindset of this young kid, man, who went from being cracked on for having a big head, being dark, having a speech impediment. I went through all that as a child. I was criticized, ridiculed, dogged a lot, and I lost myself in Machiavelli, Frederick Nietzsche, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle. Like, I was a student, Khalil Gibran. I was a student of the deeper studies of life. Yeah, even when I was a teenager. So when I turned to the streets, I had such a philosophical advantage over guys that was just out there selling drugs. That, you know what I mean? Like, strategy was not something I thought about. It was me. Like, a leader thinks about what is hard while it's still easy. He understands how to see the war coming and dissolve it so war doesn't even have to take place.
But that's because you had, well, I guess what you could call astrophysical powers, right?
Teach,
yeah, I'm so smart.
Teach.
I know.
Nah,
So,
you really getting smart now.
I know. But that's what you had.
Yes.
That's what you have now.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you have. So, and you also have the ability to, what do they call this, silent, what, am I saying this right? Would somebody please help me out here in this audience? I'm not that, I'm not 100% smart. What's the name of it when you get up at silent spoken word?
Spoken word. Poetry.
Yeah.
Yes. I started writing poetry. Well,
Can you do something?
Of course I can. I started writing when I was very young because I couldn't speak. I stuttered a lot. I had to go to speech therapy for 3.5 years.
What?
I had surgery on my vocal cords because it was extremely. I had nodules that grew on them from stuttering and forcing words out, and I lost myself in the pen. So when I got to a point that I could speak, I had a lot to talk about. So I would always write poetry. So
What
yes.
was the poetry? Was it geared to romance? Was it geared to physics? What was it geared towards?
My poetry has always been on the deeper side of things, metaphysics, seeing the world torn. Like, in this day and time, the world treats religions like gangs. You know what I mean?
True.
It's like, and religion does more to divide society than it does to bring us together.
That's right.
And my poetry is about that. I wrote a poem called "Stop Cheating Your Freedom." I remember I was in jail and I read on front page where somebody had killed their mother and father, the kids that killed their mother and father. Then I went on the other page and the teacher had molested a child.
Yeah.
Then I went on another page and I'm just saying, wow. And once again, y'all think I'm in a hurry to get out to that?
Right, yeah.
That's why, you know, it's like my perspective is different. To me, and y'all don't all shoot me at the same time, freedom as the world sees it is overrated. There's more people locked up and incarcerated out here in society than there is behind the wall.
Yeah, they got a lot of chains holding them down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lots of chains. So, can I say just a little something?
Sure. Y'all want to hear a poem? I give y'all.
Charles Silk Dunne. In spoken word, I taught him everything he knows.
I'm gonna do this first piece called Stop Cheating Your Freedom. I was in jail and I opened up the newspaper and every page I turned, I seen something else that was plaguing society. The masses take, rob, molest, and rape. Now a child has killed his own parents for a failure to communicate. We have abandoned our morals and forgot what our ancestors was bringing. It was the purpose of their death and the loss of their blood to keep the rest of us breathing. The psyche of the segregation, the effects of the separation and the mental deprivation. How did we lose a whole nation of people in constitutional litigations? But freedom is a state of mind, although it's kind and hard to find, and you can't live in fear or ignorance and call it benign. And why do you spend your paycheck on all those cosmetic lies, and then you go celebrate in places that you hate and drink all them overpriced wines, and all while the real you is deteriorating inside? Stop cheating your freedom. Stop following another's wrong way of life and lead them. Stop killing off your great minds and breed them. Stop being jealous of those successful and meet them. And stop letting the weak defeat us in the game of life. It's okay to cheat them. You see, in my imagination dwells and my ideas swell because I've learned the magic in the universe, but I've promised not to tell, because man's once rapid thoughts, now they move like a snail, because he's forgot that it's 36 chromosomes in one cell. He forgot what makes it rain, sleet, and hail. He forgot how to pick himself up after he failed. He forgot how not to neglect but to respect his female. You see, freedom is much deeper in ourselves, so that we may see beyond the study of bones and archaeology and obtain greater proof than humans in anthropology and speed up the mental vibration and click the middle throttle. Plato and Socrates warned us about living in a bottle, but I have real life dreams of the philosophies of Aristotle. But we need to understand the prophecies and where.
And it's your land.